Annexation Authority of Iowa County's June 4th meeting, 2025 order. Madam Secretary, would you facilitate roll call, please?
Yes. June 25, 2025. Tom Tarkowitz.
Here.
Vivian Davis here. Amy Evans.
Here.
Dr. Paul Watson.
Here.
Maya Williams.
Here.
And Janisha Morris.
Here.
And Eric Stewart.
Present.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss here.
Perfect.
Mics are on.
Buttons, mics.
I believe so.
Yes.
Thank you for the mic check, Tom. We will
Sound at church, so.
we will move on to the approval of the agenda. I'd like to propose a couple of agenda changes right after approval of the minutes. I'd like to insert closed session so that council has an opportunity to address us. And then I would also like to add under new business. We have two things that were in process but didn't get added to the agenda. I don't see, oh, no, we got the committee, subcommittee structure is already there, travel policy. We have a couple of policy pieces we want to put in place in a request. So I'd like to make those add-ons. That would go in E for travel policy. Any other observations, what have you?
Also move to approve the agenda. Oh, Amy, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think I heard you say to insert closed session after approval of minutes.
Yep.
Is that a different one than the one at the bottom?
The one at the bottom, move up.
Move up.
That was moving up. Okay, thank you.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Perfect. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the Transportation Authority of Calhoun County, June 10th, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
And seconded, any observations or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and ask for a motion to move us into closed session and ask our guests to leave.
Okay, I move that we go into closed session pursuant to section 8H of the Open Meetings Act to discuss a written attorney opinion that is exempt from disclosure under state and federal law.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Need a roll call.
Okay, yeah. Madam Secretary, would you facilitate roll call for this closed session, please?
Yes. Tom Tarkowitz.
Yes.
Paul Watson.
Yes.
Eric Stewart.
Present.
Vivian Davis. Present. Yes. Amy
Evans.
right.
Yes.
Amy Evans, yes. Maya Williams.
Yes.
Janisha Morris.
It's unanimous. Ask our guests to leave. Before Tom asks, let's make sure our mics are functioning.
First time I don't ask.
Looks like we're recording. Good. Exiting closed session, we'll move right on into public comments on agenda items. Okay, hearing none, the consent agenda. Okay, we'll keep it moving. Finance and budget report, June 24th, 2025.
Much to share. We received a couple small payments, one from the city of Battle Creek and one from Calhoun County, and we just moving along.
All right.
We've met a couple times. We plan to meet again on July 1st, Maya and I, so.
Yes, and she has made introductions to all the people that work in finance, and I plan on making meetings and going to meet them, so I'll get to know everyone. Yeah.
Perfect.
I just had one question regarding denial vet exemptions. What is that?
We wrote,
No, we where we received that from. We wrote what that was, but we really wasn't for sure. It didn't explain. It just said denial vet exemptions on there. So we
That's
really
what-
were sure what that was.
The remittance advice
Mhm.
from the electronic payment, that's the wording it used
Yeah.
on there. So
Mm.
we just used their wording to share what the payment was for.
There's a veteran tax exemption. And so it sounds like someone took it,
Two people and they were 30 something each to make the
Yes.
$70.
they denied them.
Denied them.
I think that's what that is.
But we were presuming, but we,
Wasn't-
because we're presuming yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know much about it.
Well, we thought that, but we wasn't for sure. So
Any questions for the budget report
Two people.
for June 24th? I don't think that takes any action, right?
Acceptance of the report.
Yeah. We need to put action next to the ones that we need to make sure we vote on,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Or a little A or something like
I
that.
move that we accept the June 24th, 25 financial and budget report.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there any support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
All those opposed, same sign. Great. Any public hearings and subsequent board action? Okay, great. Let's get to unfinished business. Approval of accounting and finance service contract. Who wants to take that?
I can. We received one proposal and I hope I'm saying the name of the company correctly, Maynard Coster.
Saracen.
say it again.
Maynard Saracen.
So based on their proposal and the requested supplemental information that they shared with us, the Accounting and Finance Services Review Committee would like to recommend to the TACC Board that we approve them as our accounting and finance services provider or vendor.
Okay, the recommendation has been presented and that rigorous process has been performed over the past designated period. Is there a motion to go ahead and accept the recommendation for Maynard Saracen to be that vendor?
So move.
It's been moved. Is there any support?
Support.
Okay, did you? Oh, okay.
I was just gonna move for it, but
Oh, okay. I saw that. That's what the anticipation was. Okay. All right. You can't, Doc, you can't be making faces and have a bow tie. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of approval of that vendor contract, signify by saying aye.
I,
Those opposed, same sign. Great. Approval of executive director job description. We have in your packet, we have we discussed starting to outline some of these positions, and the executive director was the first one, given that that would be our kind of main employee, right? An only employee that would govern the TACC operations going forward. Outlying pieces, positive or adjusting? Okay, not hearing any. Is there a motion to go ahead and approve this document as is indicated? Okay, it's been moved. Any support?
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Great, I'll go ahead and call the vote for the approval of the executive director job description as written. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Those opposed, same sign. Great. Update on marketing communication. I know many of us are in the mix of the constant, I don't want to use the word barrage of marketing information and what have you, but it is, it's very interesting watching all the moving pieces, and Mallory and I participated in a kind of a marketing update last, was it Monday? That was Friday. Ooh, it seems like just yesterday. Did you want to give us a quick update?
So the marketing team is moving faster than I can keep up with, which is great. I've provided them the frequently asked questions so that they can update the website. I've given them administrator access to the website. I have also met with them to kind of go over some kind of I'm not going to say quirks of the website, but some places we'd like to see improvement and how things appear. And so, for example, our agendas are just kind of in a list as a link. Is there a way to make those a little bit easier for the public to find and embed the public meetings, the YouTube videos? They are working right now. One of the more urgent matters that we need them to work on is vehicle branding. So I will meet with Eric again once they submit some designs. I think it's Maya, Eric, and myself that are in Basecamp. And so they've submitted us some questions to answer. Eric and I had a meeting where we talked a little bit about messaging and what is it that we want the TACC to communicate or stand for, what is the tagline. So we have all different vehicle shapes, sizes, styles. So we've given them the more urgent ones. We just took delivery of 4 new vehicles last week. So working on having them develop the design so that we can go get those wrapped. And then working on the buses that we have on order next so that Gillig, the bus manufacturer, can start preparing to have the big buses wrapped. The vehicles that we just took delivery of, or the ones that we've taken delivery of in the last couple of months that we haven't fully branded yet, we are going to build those to the vehicle grants so we can cover the cost of branding and wrapping them in the grant that also purchased the vehicle. The vehicles, I'm going to say legacy vehicles, the vehicles that already exist that need to be rebranded, we'll have to go out to bid to get competitive quotes or proposals for wrapping those. But King Media will develop what that looks like. So we just need somebody else to print it and install it. King Media will actually design it based on the TACC. I talked through with him a little bit. Bluefish had already done a great job of kind of mocking up vehicles. And so King Media really just has to refine it at this point. And then they'll present Maya, Eric, and I a sample of that. And hopefully by our next meeting, we have some images to be able to bring you of the concepts and the creatives for Ride Calhoun.
Awesome. That is awesome. Yes.
Just a question. I've gotten an email from Maggie through Basecamp and about a recurring meeting. I just happened to be in the loop, or am I needed in those discussions about 3-hour meeting every Friday?
I don't think you were intended to be on that.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Yep.
I did see that email come through yesterday. I haven't read it yet. I think we were talking about Eric, Maya, and I just touching base so that they can answer their questions. And my inbox is full of Basecamp updates, so I'm not sure.
There's
a lot
going through it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing them, I'm looking at them, but this one threw me off.
I can keep up with.
Yeah, but this one came on noon yesterday. So, okay, thanks.
Friday?
They said 3 hours.
Pardon?
You said they said 3 hours every.
It did say 3 hours.
We could do 10 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. We can do 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. So there.
Yeah, well, I'll answer to that.
What did you say about your vacation?
We'll make some adjustments there. Okay, thank you very much. The next topic is update on expanded BC Go service. Ms. Christie, how you doing today? You don't have any 5-hour meetings, do you? that I need to add to my schedule somehow. Okay.
So with our expanded BC Go service, we are getting a little bit of ridership in Albion. We've completed a couple of trips. Still not what we'd like to see for the full 8 hours that we're there every single day, I guess. We still have the vehicle there. The drivers are still out and about in the community trying to make that happen. We do continue to see ridership requests that are coming in from Albion Township. and they're requesting to go to the city of Albion. So some of those have been matched on our regular BC Go service, so that we're operating countywide, and we are performing those trips on that service. But some of them are getting denied because service is unavailable for those. But it is interesting to see that we've seen more requests come in from Albion Township than we have the city of Albion.
Don't need to get into town.
Mhm.
Back to-
Mhm. Well, they're requesting to go back home. Yeah, and it's most of the area that's there, like 28 Mile or just past the highway. I think it's C Drive and all of that.
Close to town, yes, yeah.
So they're just on the outskirts.
That's gonna be interesting for the LAC to know that. And because we talked about that designation having a boundary of consideration and how deep does that boundary go? That's an interesting part of that study.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make note of that we've discussed that in the past. And for new members, as we establish the boundaries that were voted on, there are these 1 or 2 mile pieces that, correct me if I'm wrong, we had some obligation to meet. But how far does that go? You know?
For the Albion area, because we don't run a fixed route service over there, we don't have to do that 3/4 of a mile from the zone. So Albion is outlined exactly to the city limits. Same will be for Marshall, like it'll be exactly. The only area where you see that buffer is gonna be the Battle Creek, and that's because we run fixed route service through Battle Creek and Springfield. So therefore you have to have the 3/4 of a mile as a buffer for the paratransit service.
There's always gonna be somebody that lives the next street over.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I can see
Yeah.
the line. I just can't.
Over a street?
They can.
Mhm.
You don't book by your home address. You book by the location of your pickup. So if they're just outside the limits and they want to walk to an address that they know is right inside the city limits and book a trip from there, they can. And they can still utilize the service, but they're traveling to and from the city of Albion. It's not based off of your residence. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and then the other step is we are moving forward with the app provider because as we look to the future, we know obviously the city of Marshall is part of our zone. Matt and I had already created a zone in the platform when we originally were hoping to get Dial-A-Ride on the platform, but we couldn't match the fare structure. That did have that buffer of service that he serves for Marshall Township. So I'm working with our developer to scale that back and create the zone for just Marshall. And then as we look to the future, we'll have the ability to maybe rezone, like I mentioned last meeting, so that that vehicle could operate between the two zones or zone for just Marshall, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the back end since we're heading towards that direction.
Yeah. Or does that technology have the ability to, if we learn that there's certain hot spots, if you will, for pickup that are kind of outside of or on the fringe, you get where I'm coming from, we can create, like the Domino's app has the hot spots where you can order a pizza and they'll bring it to the park.
It's like an Amazon locker.
Yes. You get where I'm coming from?
Yes.
I don't know what that is, but yes. Since he said it with such enthusiasm, it's obviously a thing. But yeah.
Options available for customization and how we deploy different areas, different zones.
Yes.
What vehicles communicate to those zones. So
Yes.
we can definitely be very strategic and flexible in the way that we plan for the service in the future.
Okay. And for the record, I just did I do know what that is. So yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can enter an address or you can use a PIN
Okay.
to set your pickup destination.
Perfect.
There's no location right when you're in your app. You could use your current location and that's what sets it.
Like an Uber.
Like an Uber, yes.
Same. Okay.
Yes. Just one question. I'm waiting for you to give me the okay to go full force. I've been holding
I
back.
can answer that even before you. No.
In terms of pushing BC Go, in terms of making sure the QR code is on websites with the city, with the Chamber of Commerce and the news and things like that. But I've held back because you said let's hold back. So a lot of people really don't know. And it's not accessible to them who use it because they don't know the QR code or they haven't
You
seen it.
don't have to have the QR code.
I mean, that's just one marketing strategy. I was just using that as an example.
Yeah.
But just, I can, we can push it forward, but I was holding back in terms of pushing it forward.
Well, I can
because-
tell you that all of the senior centers within the city have received it. The grocery stores within the city have received it. Doctors' offices, dialysis facility, like they have hundreds of flyers in your community. All of those flyers do have the QR code on them, so I don't think it's a material thing that we need to get out to them or even a posting of those. And I do think we want to be very careful in continuing to use that branding because all of it is going to change. So because that QR code, all it does is take you to the bcgomi.com
Right.
website that tells you like frequently asked questions.
Right.
Obviously, that's not going to be our website in the future. So then we have to find all those flyers to take them down to put up new ones. So
Yeah,
One thing I know where you're going.
okay.
And one thing that we put in front of that piece is, and we've started to have these conversations, as we get closer to the designation or any visual change that the public may see on the road, King Media will work on that strategy that has science associated with
For-
reaching those pockets that you may be referring to, or it may be more prevalent, and there's a ramp up period to make sure that we're capturing the proper statistics along with that strategy as well to make sure the strategy is working. Right now, with the flyers and things of that nature from a marketing perspective, that's pretty much a shotgun approach. And so you get what you get,
It's not.
and yeah, and to be honest with you, if somebody passes the flyer or something like that, you could be in need, but it doesn't draw your attention to it. And King will help us out with that because that's what they do. Would that be fair?
yes, I would
Okay,
completely.
so I don't want to jump the gun on King Media strategy, so that's why I'm saying, we're starting to have those conversations now. And like I said, any visual change in branding or Ride Calhoun or something like that will give us the go-ahead to be able to match that strategy with what the community sees.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
It's to both of you. Did you say the 4 new vehicles that are gonna get wrapped that have already been delivered are vans? And if they're doing those, if those are vans and they're doing those, could they do the van that's in Albion? And
4 that we received for the pilot, which are your countywide vehicles, were 2 minivans and then 1 Ford Transit. So those were on site. We do have another Ford Transit that is being ordered, so that's about 6 months out. They didn't have that available at the dealership. The 4 that she's talking about that got delivered this week are your New England wheels, so they're low floor. They're more of a paratransit style vehicle. So those will be running the paratransit service.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
I saw a van in my neighborhood this morning as I was leaving. I said, BC Go in my neighborhood? Okay.
We made sure before this meeting, we parked that right out there.
So you know
Yeah,
that.
Christy's pretty smart. Christy's like, let me run this past Vivian house so she can make sure.
Yeah, so I can
Yeah.
attest.
So she can't come to the meeting and say, we don't see any BC Go for.
It was there.
Let me keep us moving in essence of time. I want to make sure that we stay on task. Okay, so that moves us into new business. Establish an appointment of subcommittees, I'll take that one. We know at the workshop, we talked about it would be prudent for us to spread out some of the work and things of that nature in the subcommittee groupings, especially as we get organized with the TAC and building up that business, the brand and what have you. So I've taken the liberty of, based on our conversations, not that any of you volunteered for these committees, but you have it as part of your packet. I'll start with the planning committee. If you have in front of you, you can see the recommended language as well as participants in that. And that would include, in planning, would be obviously strategic planning, things of that nature for the TAC or what have you, as we talk about goals, objectives, strategies, future development, how we achieve our goals, what are our KPIs, and so on and so forth, that measure success for the organization. So that would include, I don't know how I volunteered myself for so many committees, but that would include myself, Vice Chair Tarkowitz, and Secretary Davis on that, and then an ex officio being the executive director to be determined. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on all these at once. Not hearing any dissension in folks that want to commit. Okay, Tom and Vivian, you good with that assignment? Okay, all right, we'll move right into the Finance Committee. This is a little more straightforward. Led by our treasurer, Maya Williams. Member Amy Evans would join that, and then member Dr. Paul Watson. And then, of course, the executive director piece as an ex officio. And then in the future, if there's a director of grants and finance and so on and so forth, that person would join that planning committee meeting as well. Are we all, I see nods, accepting of those pieces. Great. Then that'll move us right into the executive committee piece. And you can kind of read that description there, review policies, procedures, compliance, legal, so on and so forth, some of the things that we've been talking about. Obviously, that would be the board chair, the vice chair, and then we would ask member Commissioner Morris to join us in that with her background, and then the executive director operating in an ex officio capacity. I see nods, yeah, and kind of go from there. So any questions or what have you about entertaining one motion for all of those committee ratifications?
I'll make that motion to ratify the 3 committees as presented.
Perfect.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by.
I thought, Amy.
Who are we saying supported it? I heard two.
Vivian's, hey, Amy, pick somebody. Just make sure everybody participates. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want nobody
Why we
leaving the
vote.
TAC with their feelings hurt.
Right information.
Yes, okay. Okay, we'll move on to adoption of revised meeting schedule. Oh, I'm sorry. We got a call. Yeah, thank you. I don't know what you said, but yes, I assumed it was the call.
Don't make her laugh.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, great. Janae, I'm on phone with you all day. You don't have to say anything. I'm just saying. Adoption of revised meeting schedule. You can see the 2 proposed meeting schedules, one for the committees and committee meetings, workshop dates, and another full list of meeting dates. I know that at the workshop we talked about paring some of these things down and so on and so forth, but between now and the designation, we don't have a whole lot of time. So I think we keep the same meeting cadence. If we have to cancel something, we can do that with proper notice and kind of move things in that order. But this is kind of the slate of the dates that we have right now, if we can make note of that. All right.
For the work session dates, do you want me to see if I can get the room downstairs reserved?
I would appreciate that. And then we need to investigate meeting space in other communities as well.
Okay.
I know this has been very convenient, very neutral and so on and so forth, but as we get into later in the year, the fall in 2026, I'd like to try to implement that as we become more visible in other communities. We should also have that visibility be on our meeting as well. All right.
That's doable.
So we're talking about meeting as a board the 4th Tuesday of every month instead of the 2nd, and using the 2nd as committee meetings or workshop dates?
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about, to be able to prepare for the next board date.
So would the committees all meet? I mean, right here it says in City Hall, and I know you just were asking about reserving the rooms. Are we all meeting at the same time in the same room, or would those be virtual meetings, or how is that? How are the committee meetings going to work?
As necessary.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I do think that it would be good for the committees to meet virtually as well. That is something that we can do in the Open Meetings Act as a advisory committee in nature.
Right. Okay. So let's just make those virtual and kind of go from there. Yes, yeah. Good. So let's just make that adjustment on this piece.
Do we, November 11th is Veterans Day. I know this building's closed, but if we're going to do virtual, you still want to hold it on Veterans Day? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
okay, just something to think about. All
Make
right,
those adjustments.
yeah.
It's just a tentative hold the thing, and for things like that, that's perfect.
We'll reserve the room just in case we have a workshop with Peter or Clark.
And Doc, did you have a?
I thought the intent with the size of the committees were perfect because there's no quorum. So you
100%.
absolutely could do it online.
I noticed that December 9th is on both. Are we keeping it on both or should it only be on one?
They're on both because there's only the one meeting scheduled for December. So I wasn't sure if.
Which would use it
business
for?
Would be moved up. The regular meeting would be held December 9th as well. I figured we could tackle the change later, but I left it on both for that reason.
And to Tom's point, November would be kind of set up around a budgeting time, and then December would set up that January time period for what was that, like an annual meeting, right?
Yeah, I think the January meeting.
Annual meeting. So that tees up the content for that, and that's real good timing. So we'll make those adjustments. It's not written as a permanent, but we can make adjustments. Okay, we got consensus on that?
And we will know about the meeting before whether we're going to have, the committee meetings. We will know.
Yeah, the committee chairs will be responsible for calling those.
Contacting if there's a need for a committee meeting.
Just assign myself a new responsibility.
Two more.
Happenstance, yeah. Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to approve what we have here, considering Veterans Day as a possible audible?
Support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Perfect. We've cleared those two things out. Adoption of BCAT's memorandum of understanding. We ready to take that on and go ahead and approve that?
Mhm.
I need a motion for that. It's been moved. Is there any support?
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Just for discussion purposes, the BCATS committee, we've suggested the language. Our council has reviewed that, they've approved that, and what we're approving today has been vetted in that realm and recommended by council that we take this action today. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Perfect. All right. Travel policy, I'll take that, and then my representative has helped with this piece a little bit. So this was birthed out of a request for some board development by our new member, Ms. Williams, in the finance capacity. There is a pretty robust board development workshop happening out of state. And so we realized we did not have a resolution of sorts or a policy that would allow us to take action on that. The resolution that you have in front of you that is number 2-2025 kind of outlines this request and what have you, our willingness to take a motion, action to approve that and by a count vote and what have you to allow that to happen. On the back of that resolution, there is a budget. This budget, although we tried to estimate the best we could with what we had, would be a not to exceed amount of $2,750 on an estimated total of $2,692.26 from Ms. Williams to attend this conference, and which includes travel, lodging, registration, per diem, transfers, and what have you, which meets the policies of, the municipal policies of Battle Creek and others. Is that? Okay, so, we've had a chance to review that. Is there any, entertainment for, a motion to, set that precedent on this is how we would do these things until further ratified?
And so we're doing this as a formal resolution because the TAC doesn't have a full travel policy yet that gives authority to just be able to go as long as it meets the criteria. So kind of as the workaround, we've developed a resolution that outlines what the conference is, where it's at, how many days, what the estimated expenses are, what eligible expenses are. So, obviously Ms. Williams understands that it's, alcohol is not included, tobacco is not included, personal leisure and entertainment is not included. And then we'll work, upon your approval, we'll work with Ms. Williams to get her reservations made, registration covered, airline booked, all of that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to, create a resolution 02-2025? Second.
Support.
It's been moved by Vice Chair Harris, supported by Secretary Davis. That's important for this sheet. If we can have a roll call vote.
Okay, we have Tarkowitz,
Yes.
Paul, yes, Eric,
Yes.
Vivian, yes, Amy,
Yes.
Maya,
Yes.
yes, and Janisha, yes.
Yes, also, can Maya vote?
Yeah,
She can't vote, right? Because it's her.
No.
Oh, we have
Thank you.
Yes.
six votes and one abstention.
After we capture that motion, we need to add this to this piece, and Secretary Davis will sign that. Get that going. Ms. Williams, if you would coordinate with Ms. Davis, facilitate that, that'd be great.
Yes.
All right. We'll move right into public comments and non-agenda items. Okay, hearing none. All the activity going on. Board and executive director comments, communications to the board.
I have a question about our July 8th work session. Who's going to put the agenda together, or is that, I see Peter's on and across from, yeah, that's Peter. Who's going to put that agenda together so that and are we going to do the same time frame, start at 9 o'clock? What's the plan on that?
Say yes. I'll
That was a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good extension of, data information up to date, to get us up to date on what we need to do now and get us up the road on transfer of designated status, what we have operationally, and so on and so forth, and some other key points that we can share publicly. I know that this fair strategy needs to be discussed and things of that nature, and that would be a good meeting to handle that so that we have an idea of what that the different directions that can go going forward and what that means. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Any other communications to the board? I know we have a lot of, we'll try and republish some of the things we have coming up relative to community presentations and things of that nature. I know I've been requested to, that does not stop any of you from attending those. The more the merrier. But there may be some that we do in our communities, and King Media will help us kind of put some type of little script together in terms of an update. Mallory has done a very good job at putting kind of an up-to-date piece that has a schedule in it that explains what happens between now and designee time period. But and that King is revamping that right now, and hopefully they'll get that done soon, and we'll be able to look at that similar to the thing we had before and be able to talk from that and articulate that. So we'll have some practice sessions coming up. One of those being the SMAC meeting. So, and then there's another one. What was the other one?
It's the 26th of this month is the CPAN meeting.
Yes.
Thursday that Eric will be speaking on the panel. Yes.
What's it?
It's the CPAN, Rebecca DeFonte. It's through SMAC. She runs that, and it's a meeting of all providers in different areas and different counties. They come together and they learn about all things seniors. And so,
Yeah, Rebecca.
Rebecca DeFonte, she runs that. So
Mallory, are you familiar with that person that runs that? Okay, can you send them the presentation in advance so that we can have the audio visual piece? Or the visual piece that we didn't have before with the NPC? Just make sure we.
I think I asked her before, she said that it was more of a round table than a presentation, but I'll reach out to her. It's Rebecca, right?
yes.
Yeah, that, now I'm remembering, it's across the street in that little room and what have you. So maybe we can do like we did at NPC.
You mean on Thursday? Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. No, it's at the Cool Center.
Oh, that we do have.
It's at the Cool Center and it's held in a little boy room because it's a lot of people that'll be in attendance at that meeting.
So let's do like we did the last time we were at the Cool Center. And we'll be, the boy room's.
Yep, the little boy room, that's the larger room, yes.
This is a update in terms of TACC.
Yeah,
So is this something all of us could use to give an update like to the count at the?
that's after King Media laces their strategy over that and gives us an update. Yeah.
Share
after
it with all of
uh-huh.
us, yeah.
Yeah, we'll publish that on the website,
Okay,
just like we do with all of our other media.
yeah, but
And
let me
kind of
know.
go from there. Yes. All right.
Presentation, Mallory, that we used at Rotary last week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All righty. That's good. I'm looking forward to that on the 26th this week. Will there be snacks?
Yes, they provide.
Snacks are important.
Continental
All right.
breakfast, yes.
Great. We'll move right on into BCATs. BCATs. Jeff, you want to give us an update? And if any of you want to attend the BCATs meeting, they do have snacks too.
Absolutely. We only take 30 minutes to.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank the board, first Jeff Franklin, Battle Creek Area Transportation Study, the MPO of the area. Thank you to the board for adopting the memorandum of understanding between our two authorities. We will have that on our policy committee meeting agenda tomorrow with my recommendation that policy committee adopt this MOU. This adoption, this agreement between our two authorities is very important to your FTA designation forthcoming, proving to the states that we've done what we've done to date, which, quick recap, is that BCATS has recognized that TACC exists within our planning area, cities of Springfield and cities of Battle Creek. We've invited you to be a member of both of our tech and policy committee and updated our bylaws. You've accepted that membership and have appointed Eric Stewart, who attends our policy committee meetings as your representation and gets up to dates and votes on BCAT's policy. And then this planning agreement, this memorandum of understanding, proves to both the state and Federal Transit Administration that we'll continue to work together in this transportation planning forum for the sake of transit for cities of Battle Creek and city of Springfield, and hopefully more BCAT's planning area as time comes forward. Update on the local share resolution, which you heard at your last meeting. The other financial participating members of BCATS other than TACC are the city of Springfield and city of Battle Creek, both of which have adopted the local share resolution for BCATS. The Calhoun County Board of Commissioners meets this Thursday to theoretically do the same thing. It's on their consent agenda. I will be at that meeting. That's all the updates I have for BCATS. Thank you very much for having me here on a meeting basis. This is nice. Good coordination.
No, it's exciting. BCATS is some exciting stuff. I didn't quite understand everything they did, but I'm immersed in it. It is all things roads, drainage, and traffic patterns and all kinds of stuff. So if you are interested in which becomes very interesting very quick, come to the meeting. It's a pretty quick meeting, and a lot of folks from all over the county really are there commenting on challenges, nuances, and things that are coming up. So it's kind of cool. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate your participation. Okay. Our next meeting, I got the meeting schedule here in front of me, but you can see it's on the schedule. And we'll follow that. What date is that?
22nd? Is that?
Do you want to?
July, because our June meeting, and July 22nd.
Hey, Peter, did you want to kind of give an update in 45 seconds or less?
Yeah, that's the next.
Both Clark and I are on. 45 seconds. Okay. Well, the retreat that we were talking about could be probably done within the 2-hour framework that your board schedule allows.
Okay.
We do think that the fare structure issues should be raised. We also think that we have to have some discussion about service beyond boundaries, current exceptions, review of boundary promises, asset transfers, and the role of the executive director and other positions that you're absorbing over time. I think that's largely it, but I think if we stay focused, we can stay within that 2-hour framework, and Clark's on, so he can also address this issue.
Ditto.
Thank you, Clark.
I'm sorry, is that on July 8th? Okay.
Yeah.
So those would be the key topics. We don't want to overwhelm us with so many topics that we can't go, a mile wide, an inch deep. We want to make sure that we pick up the things that are important, the things that are important to the taxpayers and the riders, that they understand what's coming in the future. And we've given some really regimented thought around how that works. So thank you very much, Peter. And
sure, and I would add that you should be briefed on the processes that's going to be occurring before October 1st, especially reviewing the position where the state is taking, MDOT is taking, about getting the redesignation, and the conversations we're having about with the Federal Transit Administration about the redesignation of the TACC as the recipient.
Perfect. Okay, any questions for Peter or Clark? Okay, hearing none, thank you all for your participation and robust comments today. I'll go ahead and call the meeting adjourned.